Hey guys, Jay-Games here again. This movie with Deku was always able to use 100% of One For All, Part 2. I added the thumbnail a bit to make Deku a bit more appearing that he's muscular, but also the background's a bit darker. I have air purifier on, so I'm going to turn that on a lower volume so it's not as loud and won't interfere with my audio, since the best spot for my desk is literally right next to it. So I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, last video we discussed the beginning of the story all the way up to the USJ. Now, this entire video is going to be Sports Festival related, might not get through all of it, I'll try to. Because Class 1A gets so much amps in the story from their 2 weeks of training together, Midoriya and Bakugo being the biggest ones who are able to have improvements, or allow them to understand understand how to improve, it's more impressive. So it's a lot longer. In fact, this video is more 1A centered than anything else. Only reason that 1A is more powerful is because Midoriya and Bakugo, they're delinquents basically. Because they fight so much, Midoriya and him do also take a lot of notes and stuff, so because of that, Midoriya has notes on quirks and how to improve some quirks, if he were to use them, hypothetically, basically. So yeah. Now, we're going to begin now. Plus, when has his sports festival announced to them, and Midoriya organized a class training session, didn't know where it could happen, and Momo set it up for them. She bought a small mountain range for them to train in. Or rented one, not bought one. They trained for 2 weeks straight. And how this goes is Aoyama was given a new belt by Momo, whose training allowed her to basically learn and create new things. Aoyama basically gave her his belt to analyze it, because it's some very expensive materials that not even she can possess at some point. So there's all these materials and how to create them and all that. She gave Aoyama a new belt that allowed him to basically direct certain laser darts. They're nearly as strong as his usual darts or laser blasts. They're not like 75% of the power, and they're spread apart in different angles. Like a fly has like a 3,000 something area, 3,000 points to see out of on his eye. His belt is like maybe 20. So yes, basically 20 darts that can probably blast a hole through a car with no effort really. So yeah, Mina can create more acid. Also, we learned how to do camouflage, but it lasts a lot shorter amount of time than canon, because there's just more or less ragstag training. So yeah. Ida basically tore engines out, so Ida's a lot stronger than before, to the point where he may be a winner, who knows. Ochako is basically increasing her weight of objects she can levitate, because at the beginning I think her limit was 3 tons. Right now her limit is about 3.5, so she increased it a little bit. She also learned to basically how to phrase this? I would say that, how to phrase this? She can control the stance or the position of certain rubble she's holding. So yeah. Alright. So yeah. Then Ojo basically increased the durability and flexibility of his tail, basically making it more agile. Denki learned to improve maintaining the range of his electricity, basically the output and how far it can reach. Kirishima basically is learning the basic of Red Riot Unbreakable, but so far he can only channel it into one limb, basically. Red Riot Unbreakable, one arm, the rest of his body has minimal hardening. So yeah. Koda is basically learning to increase his vocal range. He's basically learning to speak louder and yell louder to summon more animals. He also learned to control bugs. Sato increased the time limit of Sugar Rush from 5 minutes to 8. Shoji is basically increasing the number of appendages he can create. Jiro decreased her sensitivity to noise and increased stabbing power of her earlobes or earphone jacks. Sero increased the stickiness and amount he increased how sticky his tape was, the amount of tape he can create, and the density and length of his tape as well. So Sero's getting pretty good amps, to the point where he's being basically put on par with the higher ups of 1A because of just how agile his tape is now. So yeah. Togami increased the power of Dark Shadow's power in the light. Shoto is basically tricked into learning to use his flames. Midoriya's hey, Satoru, why don't you use your flames? Toruki's because of my father's quirk. Midoriya's if they're his quirk, why isn't he using them? He's using Hellfire. Your quirk's called half hot, half cold. As I recall, his quirk is not called hot. So why are they his quirk? It's because I have his DNA. Well, it's his DNA combined with your mother's. So in that way, the quirk's kind of your mother's too. You may not like it, but it's yours. He's oh, never thought of it that way. Midoriya says, I don't know how you've never thought of it that way. It's basic DNA. 2 DNA combined. 1 person. There we go. Tokyo sat down for a second and is like, so, my mother's quirk is also part of the flames. Midoriya says, yes, your mother's quirk is part of the flames. Your mother's quirk is the reason you can use both these powers at once. And anyway, this quirk is your mother's gift to you, in a sense. And Shoto says, no, you have a point. I guess I'll learn to use it, Midoriya. Shoto just walks off and learns to use his flames. So yeah. Toru basically learns to reflect light. What else? Bakugo basically increased the attack potency of his power. And yeah. Also the range of his explosions are also increased. Oh, what was I? Oh yeah. So Midoriya basically increases durability and endurance because those are the 2 categories All Might can outclass him in. So yeah. Then Mineta basically increases his speed and number of balls he can create. Yaoyorozu, already said before, can increase more advanced items. So yeah, create more advanced ones. So yeah. Now, for the 2 weeks, they didn't go home. They didn't spend cash. They just spent time in the woods the entire time. Mina and Toru and Momo thought they'd go insane. Aoyama was crying, and Kodo was not happy. So, by the time they come back, they seem traumatized for like an hour or 2. So yeah, a few of them sport a few badass scars. Bakugo even has the second user signature X across his face. He is not the second user, but he has the similar appearance to him now, basically being a replica of him, just smaller and less evil. He wasn't evil at all, or he was evil, but on the hero's side. Like, he was a no-good hero, basically. And Ojo's tail has a lot of scars on it. Like, if you look at him and you saw Hudson versus G. Biome and you saw Hudson's fist, basically put Hudson's fist on Ojo's tail and you get all those same scars. So yeah. Ochako just straight up looks like Maki from Fire Force, just shorter hair. Toto had a few burn marks on his body. And Midoriya's body basically looks like Manager Kim's, like all the scars and everything. So, yeah. Kirishima's eye scar now starts down to his chin, but no one knows why the scars look different in 2 ways. The part that goes up past his eye looks the same, but down, the scar looks a bit different. They don't know why. We may never know. We may. Who knows? We'll learn later. So, yeah. So Midoriya made a speech at the sports festival at Bakugo because he was the #1 student. He's it's basically, I know we all made it here from hard work. Class 1A nearly killed ourselves and each other to prove we can work hard and not luck out. I know you all did the same, and I want to let you all know. If you prove you're powerful enough and tactical and smart enough, you can move to 1A or 1B. So fight your damn hearts out and show that you belong at UA no matter your quirk or your family. Made everyone cheered, having great opinions of 1A, a lot better than usual. Which increased Momo's tolerance of them, actually. So, First course was a race, which Shoto still froze them down, froze them down. Midoriya is wearing heavy weights. These heavy weights are insanely heavy, actually. Probably like the ones that All Might wears. But Midoriya straight up just kicked the ice out of his feet and dashed forward at top speeds. Moving about at 10% of 1 for all, so he's doing pretty good in terms of speed, I mean. So yeah. And he was like basically going like toe to toe with Todoroki's like ice path. But also using flames in one hand to propel himself. He never let Shoto stay at the training camp because, well, he didn't know why he wouldn't actually. He's training with someone who'd be basically the next All Might. Like allow Shoto to surpass him and make it obvious that he's stronger. But also uses Shoto unlock the ability to use his flames, so yeah. Now Midoriya basically ran through the ice and basically just picked up a 0-pointer with raw strength and threw it. Like, he still used 1 for all to do it, of course. 0-pointers are like 5 stories tall. But still, he threw it. So, yeah. Denki here just ran past them and let out like a blast of electricity, basically being a temporary EMP. And after he was about 10 feet away, the 0-pointers came back online. So, yeah. Another ravines. Midoriya just used 1% on 1 for all and just flipped over them all like it was nothing. And then when it came to the mines, Midoriya basically just flicked the bomb like one of the mines that he jumped over, and he got sent propelled to the end. Right as it landed, he just basically kind of more like a round off, using one for all again, going straight to the end of the finish line, giving him first place. Bakugo and Todoroki tied for number 2. Seiro got number 3. Nenki got number 4. Asuka got number 5, and Ida got number 6. I was wondering why Ida's at number 6. He tripped over Hagakure. He couldn't see her. He just fell over her. That was it. Pretty shitty, I know. Next round is announced, or next course is announced. Midoriya, Aoyama, Tsuyu, and Choji were the dream team in this one. I use a lot of dice, basically, for some situations like this, so this is the dice situation. So Midoriya, Asui, and Choji were the team. Aoyama was a rider since he was the lightest, and he can defend himself easier. So yeah, but also, he's the least physically strong compared to the group. Tsuyu's like the second weakest physically. So, yeah. Tsuyu was basically in the back and basically was invisible most of the time, or in the middle of Midoriya and Choji. So yeah. Because Midoriya and Choji were basically just giant, and then the Midoriya's kind of like slouching so that he can like be on their level. So, yeah. Now Bakugo's team was himself, Ochako, Kamihiri, which is the guy with like the blades from Class 1B, and Sato were the next team. Then Todoroki's team is Ida, Mineta, and Seiro, plus himself, of course. Now, Team Kosuke is moving. They get ambushed by Jiro, who stabbed at Shoji's foot, but Shoji able to dodge it. But because he dodged, Asuka had an opening for her tongue. She slid it through Shoji's legs. Stop it. And immediately swept at Team Jiro's feet, which allowed Aoyama to basically snag their headbands because they're like fumbling around and wobbling, which allowed him to lean down and basically snag the headbands. Like it was nothing, actually. Now, on to other teams. One of his team attacks tries to steal Bakugo's headband, and when they do, the guy in solid air shot Bakugo. Bakugo showed off a new technique that was meant for rescue, actually. As he Bakugo, before he even punched the glass, just yelled, secret technique, hot hands. Bakugo's hand was explosion in his hand, but didn't let it go. In fact, his hand lit on fire. But he shoved his hand in the solid air, burning through it immediately. Kind of like magma to paper, more or less. Or, that's probably not good. I don't know much about magma. Let's say something that's 40,000 degrees Fahrenheit to a piece of ice that can melt any second. 40,000 degrees to ice, immediately melting. But that's kind of what Bakugo's hand was to solid air. Roll it through it, turn off hot hands, then grab the headbands. So yeah, Bakugo chuckled to him, "A nice try, but you bastards can never beat me. That's why you're 1B and not 1A. So yeah. Team Shoto would attack Team Kosuke, but Shoji shot his hands up, or out, using a ton of them, and used brute strength to tear apart the ice, which shocked everyone. So as these two teams collide, Shoji used rock strength to tear apart the ice, which even amazed Shoto. When in retaliation, Mineta stuck Shoji's hands to the ice. Shoji's raw strength was enough to tear his hands off, but he's tearing off his skin by a large chunk, or straight up just tearing off his hands. Their appendage is not his actual hand, so it's okay, but still, it hurts. But yeah. But Tsuyu was actually able to, she didn't let go of Aoyama, but basically moved to the middle, which Aoyama didn't mind. Shoji's wings basically held him up most of the time. But she stuck her on the ice with her tongue. She took out one of Ida's legs. Now, that nearly eliminated the entire team because they almost all fell down because Ida was the main physical support. But because of that, Aoyama basically tried to take their headbands at the same time, but he missed because they're too far down, and if he went any farther, he'd fall off. But yeah. Bakugo was the next challenger, but Aoyama basically made a giant flash of light. At the same time, Kamihiri tried to stab Aoyama right in the face. I'm not going to hesitate, as just a blast of light shot the blade through the air, and then right back down at Kamihiri, stabbing him through the foot, which made him yell. But yeah, because the Team Bakugo is basically blinded now, Team Midoriya is able to escape and win. Or Team Kosei, but yeah. But eventually it goes on to Shoto being like, are you saying love child? He goes like on the same rant of like, are you some love child between All Might and a random woman? Midoriya has a blank face and says, no. Originally, me and All Might are close because I have similar strength to him in some ways. And yeah. And Todoroki basically believes that, all besides the fact that Midoriya kind of implied he was as strong as All Might, which he didn't believe one bit, so, yeah. Third round is announced and all the fights are here. Izuku versus Shinso, Todoroki versus Sero, Ibar versus Denki, Ida versus Mineta, Aoyama versus Monoma, Asui versus Tokuyami, Yoshima versus Tetsu, Bakugo versus Shoji, Mei versus Mina, and Momo versus Ochako. Well, that's like the third course fights. Now, Ojo did warn Midoriya, and this time Midoriya listened. Now, Shinsobi started telling Midoriya, you lucked out. You had everything handed to you that you didn't need. Midoriya basically lost it, yelling, I didn't luck out. I didn't work out until I nearly died because if I didn't work out, my body would kill me. Yeah. Well, you know what it's like having to grow so strong and you don't want to be strong. I want to be a hero, sure. I don't want to be this strong. I didn't want to work out this much. My body would kill me if I didn't, though. So I was forced to do all of this. So yeah, Midoriya basically told him, you're lucky. You have a strong quirk and an average body. You're the one that lucked out, not me. Shinjo kind of just froze, forgetting to activate Brainwash. Midoriya just appeared behind him, chopped him on top of his head, not full force, but enough to knock him out. And Midoriya looked down at Shinso with his last bits of consciousness, telling him, after this, go see Aizawa. He'll have a good routine for you, so he can show you that you aren't unlucky. So yeah. Now Todoroki versus Sero is the next match. Todoroki's a bit mellowed out, so he's not as aggressive. So there's no instant win. In fact, it's a drawn out match for Todoroki and Sero. So when he did tried freezing Sero, he just did a very quick string to tape that caught Todoroki. Still did that, but Todoroki cannot burn it at all. It's burning away. Sure, it's gonna take time though. And Sero just sent the flaming tape. Todoroki was still stuck in it, and he did try to get out of it, of course, like an average hero or person with a quirk would. But Sero was actually immune to the stickiness of his tape now. In fact, grabbing it and slamming Todoroki right on his head, full force. Didn't over the ice and all. Now Todoroki basically wobbled up with his head bleeding a little bit. And, wait. Alright, so Sero basically threw Todoroki. Todoroki basically used an ice wall to catch himself, but it still hurt him because he slammed into ice, basically. When he was free, Todoroki was like, oh, I'm free now, tried to use a burst of flames using, throwing his hand up. Sero was still basically Spider-Man, being pretty agile, jumped right over Todoroki. And for my Boondocks fans, if you remember Bushido Brown versus the Hateocracy, Sero put out a good old Bushido Brown head stomp. Right onto Todoroki's head. Full force. With that, we see Todoroki on the ground with two giant feet imprint on his head. He was painting covered in sweat, with part of his arm being covered in flames as he tore off part of his uniform and dropped it. He points at Endeavor, telling him, leave Todoroki alone. The only reason he lost because he was focused on trying to tone out your anger, or trying to tone out his anger for you. Maybe if you didn't talk to him, he would have won. Never scoffed turning around. Can't believe his son lost to that guy. Some nobody. So yeah. But still, that's how the fight went. Denki versus Ibarra was somewhat impressive on Denki's part because Denki's electricity was so strong now that he lit her vines on fire. Ibarra kind of panicked and forfeit, not wanting her hair to be lit on fire anymore. And Denki was more recommended than anything, the point where we could start fires that quickly. But then Denki admit that his head was kind of fried now because he had to concentrate all of his electricity in that one beam. So yeah. So now, Ida versus Mineta is one fight. It was a good match because, well, one thing Ida didn't account for that most of 1A focused on is Mineta's cons. Midoriya knows someone full of cons. His friend, Bakugo. Bakugo is 99% cons. So, Midoriya knows how to focus on the pros. Mineta, he had a few pros. His pros and cons kind of equal out each other. Not many pros, but they're good pros, so they weigh down. So yeah. Now, in this fight, well, Ida's speed was scary to Mineta, but when Ida got close, well, Mineta pretended to throw a ball, whereas Ida got close, Mineta simply just dropped it, bounced off Mineta's foot onto Ida's foot, or kind of right beneath Ida's foot, making Ida get stuck to the ground immediately. Then, immediately, Mineta kind of ran behind Ida, grabbing a piece of rubble, like a rock, basically, that Ida broke the ground with because of his initial burst. and slammed down that giant rock on one of Ida's engines immediately. Now, Ida 1 week before the training started mustered up the courage to, well, take out his engines. He's still a bit sensitive from that. So immediately, he just yelled out in pain at maximum output of his voice. Now, Ida looked up at Ida, saying, "I seem like a joke, but I won't hesitate to do what I need to ensure my opponents know that I'm not a hero to be messed with." He went to hit another one of Ida's engines. Ida kind of admired the sight of Mineta and chuckled at his words, saying, "Only you spent your perverted time being heroic instead. And maybe his fight would have been your win." As Ida basically tore off his shoe and tore the skin off his foot, and kicked Mineta right in the chest and out of bounds. But Mineta basically aimed his head at the ground, bouncing right off of it. Because his head didn't touch the ground, his balls did more or less. He bounced around the entire arena before aiming himself right at Ida's face. And then yelled, saying, "I refuse to lose, it'll be a double knockout." Which immediately just made, like, Ida basically freeze, his headbutted in the face, full force. Ida's nose broken and Mineta's forehead is obviously bleeding. They both hit the ground unconscious, making the first double knockout. So, yeah, that was the fight. Now, for the fight for Monoma versus Aoyama. Monoma copied Solid Air, Mud, and Tail Splitter. Aoyama was nervous, but Mei handed him a belt that Momo convinced her to modify. So yeah, this belt is basically similar to Aoyama's current belt, but Mei easily modified it. Instead of having 20 high-powered blasts, this one targeted 40. And they could go for 10 seconds, so it was pretty good range. So yeah. Now when the fight started, Monoma immediately tried to sink Aoyama using mud, and use a barrier to block all of Aoyama's blasts. So yeah. And a lot of this, Aoyama is able to shoot 40 high-powered blasts for around 10 seconds, which launched Monoma to the brink of the ring, because Aoyama's blasts are decently powerful now, so, yeah. But Aoyama decided to take off the belt and use one final blast to actually destroy Solid Air and send Monoma out of bounds, and he did just that. But Monoma kind of ended up burning his stomach actually doing this, but also now almost shit himself because of that, so, yeah. But Monoma basically looks like Damian Wayne after fighting Blue Beetle. Recovery Girl barely saved Aoyama. Not Aoyama. Barely saved Monoma by his hair is restored, but now he has a Todoroki-esque burn mark on his face. But now instead of going on his eye, only it goes from his eye to his ear. So, yeah. But this was it was Aoyama's win, but he forfeited, saying that his stomach hurts too much, and Aoyama said that Aoyama says he hurts too much. So Aoyama says he hurts too much, and Monoma simply said that he said that he's not in any condition to fight anymore, basically. But yeah. Now, Tsuyu vs. Tokoyami was considered a very lucky fight. The fight kicked off with basically a tongue smash versus a claw smash. Both attacks landed on the other, but not effectively. Tsuyu having a very, very, very low and not effective scratch, and basically, Tokoyami kind of using one arm to block the tail smack. Tongue smack. This match is basically hit and run tactics from Tsu. But eventually Tokoyami would use Dark Shadow to make a giant dust cloud. And when the dust cloud cleared, Tsuyu was gone. But suddenly, a ray of light hit Tokoyami right in the eye, and as Tsuyu copied the concentration of light from Toru. With the ray of light in Tokoyami's eyes and him being blinded, Tsuyu was able to basically just bounce and dropkick him right in the chest, knocking the wind out of him and out of bounds. Tsuyu's panting and just fell to his knees, saying that it was fun to have a win like that. So yeah. Now, the next fight, Kirishima vs. Tetsu. This fight is the definition of aggravated assault. It was advanced bullying the way Kirishima beat down on Tetsu. Like, Tetsu's iron broke with every strike Kirishima landed, even if it was in base form. Kirishima tried to finish it off with a Riot Unbreakable as a slap, which slashed at his face a bit and knocked him out. So, yeah. It's actually kind of a funny fight, to be honest. But now it's Bakugo versus Shoji. This is considered a good match, considering Shoji had basically superior situational awareness and actually physical stats. Shoji's durability, his strength, well, his IQ was nearing Bakugo's. Only stats that the Bakugo had over Shoji was basically, well, battle IQ, attack potency, and speed. Well, it kind of depends if Bakugo's using propulsion or not. Using propulsion, he's faster. Using base speed, Shoji's faster. So, yeah. It's kind of a very weird thing. But Bakugo basically used a P shot to blow apart some of Shoji's hands, which is a dirty trick in Bakugo's part, but still Shoji didn't expect it and simply just said that he forfeit because of that. He's having limbs blown apart, I'd forfeit too. So, yeah. Now, May didn't want to fight Mina because she knew her babies couldn't handle Mina's acid. So that fight was ended. But the next fight is Momo versus Ochako. It was a good fight, but Momo kind of didn't let Ochako near her, and because of that, well, Ochako lost. Like the rubble that Ochako had was very small rubble, and well, Momo simply used rubber bullets. Like she had a cannon and hit Ochako in the leg with a rubber bullet, and that was it. I was like, no more. I'm done. You win, I lose, and walked out of like limbs out of bounds. It was a very upsetting battle. So yeah. Second round begins. First fight is Midoriya versus Sero. Sero's first idea was to take Midoriya's legs, which he did, but Midoriya simply just yelled, California Smash version 2. Which, actually, I have to think about this real quick, because I forgot all the smashes. Oh yeah, basically, you jump forward at top speed with basically two switches out on Giri, is kind of what it is. Like, your arms on X pattern and then slash. And then that's basically the California Smash version 2. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of just Midoriya versus Sero. Midoriya kind of easily won that. Now, Sero's chest has a light cut on it, but still he fainted. Now, Momo versus Denki was slaughtered since she just made an electric-proof UA uniform before the match started. And Denki couldn't, like shock her at all. Like, she had this few small burns. When she got close enough, she literally just ran out, kicked him in the face, and knocked him out right then and there. So, yeah, she's pretty capable of hand-to-hand combat now, too. And Bakugo versus Sue is basically just like Canon Ochako versus Bakugo. But she did spit poison on his arm, which triggered maximum pain in his arm at random spurs for an hour. So, it's going to be an agonizing hour. Kirishima versus Mina is where we learn where Kirishima's extended scar came from. While training with Mina, and this is where he unlocked Red Riot Unbreakable, she basically melted up Red Riot Unbreakable and burned his face. But also at the same time, can hit him in the face, scratching his face. Because those scratches and burns combined, it's basically kind of altered his scar's appearance now. He's not blood in the eye, but still, it hurts. So yeah. Now Kirishima kind of just speed blitzed her and pinned her down. She had burned away his rock skin, but he just used his bare forehead to headbutt her and knock her out. So, yeah. Semi-finals. Midoriya, Momo, Bakugo, Kirishima. First fight is Kirishima versus Momo Yaoyorozu. Kirishima is basically super durable, and she's permitted to use dummy rounds of high power weaponry. She used a cannon to shoot at him until the ammo was gone, because it's rubber, well, kind of popped on the impact. That is more like balloons versus a giant needle. So yeah. So he basically ran at her, and she's able to somewhat hop over him, and as basically her shirt kind of, when the back of your uniform kind of opened, she created an anvil, which made her pass out when she hit the ground. But Kirishima had his head crushed by a 40-pound anvil, and he's not dead, but he's knocked out definitely, because it's Red Riot Unbreakable. But yeah, she basically gave up on the victory. And because of that, Kirishima's big knight was not knocked out, but he can't get up because he's the one that's still conscious, and she forfeits. He's the winner, but he's not moving for a while. Like Cover Girl says, get a stretcher and don't move his head at all. If you move his head, he might faint. So yeah. Next fight, Midoriya versus Bakugo. This early on, still around throw of the die, kind of had this fight happen. The Bakugo used a P shot, which was a diversion. But immediately he just let out a giant blast and destroyed half the ring. The smoke cleared though. Midoriya was in the air. Midoriya landed right in front of Bakugo, picking him up and basically suplexing him into the ground. Not maximum force, but suplexing him hard enough to make him pass out. So, yeah. Final fight is Midoriya versus Kirishima. Kirishima and Midoriya were basically like just trading blows in their base forms. Or if Midoriya's in base form, Kirishima's using Midoriya Unbreakable in his arms. But Midoriya was able to use Crescent Ring, which is just kind of like hold up. I need to explain this kick in an accurate way. It's basically just dashing crescent kicks, which is kind of like a Taekwondo-esque move. So, yeah. Google crescent kick in Taekwondo, and then you'll get what it is, but imagine that, but 10 times to the face. So Midoriya easily won. Midoriya was the winner, all smiling, seeing himself in Midoriya now. Buck was on the verge of murdering Kirishima for taking number 2 from him, so he was still tied up dozens of times over. But Hot Hands freed him, as the picture of the sports festival is Bakugo choking Kirishima, kind of like how Homer does Bart. So, yeah. And everyone's internships happen. I'm going to go over the internships before the video ends. Aoyama is sent to train at Crust because Aoyama needs a heroic emotional increase. Crust is supposed to be known as the heroes, basically. Like, he's the most heroic hero. And Aoyama needs that. Ashido and Momo are sent to Uebami, the snake chick that Momo went with in canon. Tsuyu is sent to Selkie still. Ida went to Manuals for Avenging and Stain. Ochako and Sato go to Gunhead for martial art training, basically. Odro goes to Fourth Kai, training with someone who's used to extra appendages to fight. Denki is sent to Snipe because Denki has like the metallic discs now. He has those already, so Snipe is his trainer for those. Yoshima is sent to Fat Gum. Koda is sent to the Wild Pussycats. Then Jiro and Toru go to Edge Shot, who's basically a ninja. So, yeah. Taro goes to Eraserhead, or Aizawa, with Shinso. Ukami goes to Hawks. Shoshiro goes to Endeavor. Bakyoso goes to Best Genist. More or less to cool down his anger that's already subsided a little bit, but still, it can be toned down at certain moments. Midoriya does still go to Gran Torino. And Aoyama goes to Mineta goes to Rock Lock. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this part. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.